Welcome to Bobby Likas Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likas.
And thank you, Marty. Good morning, folks. Welcome. We are live from the PRN Studios at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the 2014 Charlotte Auto Fair. This is one of the coolest. It's crazy outside, but it's unbelievable. We're inside the studios, the PRN Studios, the biggest car show of the year with thousands of classic and exotic automobiles. We've had terrific guests so far on today's Car Clinic broadcast, but coming up, very interesting, Scott Stewart. We're going to talk about the fifth generation Camaros of the Carolinas, because we are in, indeed, Charlotte, North Carolina. This segment of Bobby Likas Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology. Power Frame grids are up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than any other grid design. You look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. You can learn more at powerframe.com. Also, never forget our partner sponsors, Royal Purple. The show is brought to you in part by Royal Purple, my choice for all synthetic oils and lubricants. 888 Car Clinic is the number, 888-227-2546. I also want to give a congratulations and thanks. This Car Clinic Globalcast is brought to you in part by Nationwide Insurance and Haggerty Insurance. What a great partnership. So if you have a classic car or if you're building one in the garage, check them out. Nationwide Insurance and Haggerty. Meanwhile, short commercial break. Back with Scott Stewart. Don't touch that dial. Like us, you're going to love us. I'm Bobby Likas with today's Fact or Friction, brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Automatic transmissions generate heat and depend on the transmission fluid for cooling and protection. Fact. Yes, transmissions generate a lot of heat, and especially so when towing, tackling hills, and increasing your vehicle's weight with cargo or passengers. And while more than 90% of all automatic transmission failures are caused by overheating, the life of a transmission can be doubled by a 20-degree reduction in fluid temperature. Royal Purple's Max ATF is a synthetic, high-performance automatic transmission fluid that significantly reduces heat and wear, making shifting smoother and extends transmission life. When choosing oil, lubricants, or additives for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple. Visit RoyalPurple.com for testimonials and for all the Royal Purple advantages. Then pick up Royal Purple's Max ATF at Pep Boys today.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need an AC Pro.
Know any?
Yeah, you.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
I did it! It's like a freezer in here.
Be a pro with new AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
Got a sweater?
When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to state-of-the-art engineering, strong, consistent starts are exactly what you get with Power Frame Grid Technology. Batteries that use Power Frame Grid Technology provide superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likas Car Clinic.
Nothing can wreck an evening like getting busted for not listening. And because at Molson we've been helping you make friends since 1786, here's a practice exercise to help you focus on her, even in a distracting bar. Listen closely, you will be quizzed.
My cousin Valerie had a baby last week.
Starting right the right side. He breaks the tackle. Oh!
He's 7 pounds, 2 ounces. So cute. Blue eyes, red hair. He was a breech baby, so you know.
Just want a guy to give me a good time all night long. No strings attached.
For her. She was in labor for 17 hours.
Dudes, who wants some Molson? I'm buying.
I hope. They named him Aiden. I like it. Masculine.
Oh, is my thong showing again?
Probably because they met in London.
Okay, what was her cousin's name, baby's weight, sex, eye color, hair, time in labor? If you answered Valerie Aiden, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, boy, blue, red, 17 hours, congratulations. If you didn't, keep practicing. With an easy drinking Molson, of course. Molson, making friends since 1786. Imported from Canada by Molson USA, LLC, Golden, Colorado.
And now back to Bobby Likas Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likas.
And for those of you who may not have tuned in to the first hour of today's broadcast, we're live from the PRN Studios at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the 2014 Charlotte Auto Fair. Indeed, one of the coolest, craziest, biggest car shows of the year. And just let me give you a rundown here. Exotic Performance Vehicle Display. It's the largest collection of exotics in auto fair history, including Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Aston Martins and, of course, Mercedes. Unbelievably, a Mercedes that set the world record for speeds at 268 miles an hour in 1995. The 50th anniversary of the Pontiac GTO. Dock Dogs Big Air. What's that? Dock Dogs, folks, you've never seen a dog fly off of a dock to chase into the water. It's something that you have to see. It's a competition, but it's a competition. It's a great family affair. In fact, for me, the Charlotte Auto Fair is a family affair in its entirety. Classic car auctions, dozens of classic cars on the block, play zone for kids, nationwide insurance display, and for your information, Nationwide and Hagerty have actually joined as partners now, and if you have a classic car, you'll want to reach out to your Nationwide agent locally and ask how your classic car can be covered because that really adds depth and it adds coverage to both Hagerty and to Nationwide. It's a great partnership. There's a huge car corral with more than 1,500 vehicles, 50 car clubs. And speaking of car clubs, with us is Scott Stewart. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Grim Reaper, but he's going to share with us information. He is the president of the 5th generation Camaros of the Carolinas. Scott, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, as president, what's your duty?
I'm more or less taking in new members. I get them signed up for the club, get their shirts and stuff ordered. I also plan events and, just more or less oversee basically everything with the car club. I have a committee that helps me do this, but, they all kind of go through me and we work together as a team. So
I would imagine, how many cars did you bring to the Charlotte Auto Fair?
We have 23 Camaros here today, 5th generation Camaros.
And from what year would that cover?
That's 2010 through 2014.
And fast car, which one would be that's an automatic question. Tell us a little more about the cars, and specifically if you have a favorite or not, or if you dare say which is your favorite.
No, all the members of the club, it's really weird because they've kind of been unique in what they've done with their own car. Everybody's come up with their own theme, and naturally the ZL1 Camaro, we have several of those in the club. That's naturally going to be the fastest of the car club that we have. But we have a lot of really unique cars. It's not only fast ones, but just a lot of different modifications that each member has done, and they've done it to their own taste. So,
with regard to clubs, it has been my experience that there's a lot of money raised for charities.
Yes.
Share with us any of that you'd care to, any of the recent events or the planned events that you have coming up in addition to the Charlotte Auto Fair.
Yeah, each year we do the North Carolina Camaro Gathering, which is held here in Concord. And we had it this past year, and we raised money for Levine's Children's Hospital. We raised $4,000. And we'll have it again this next April. And the money we raise for this coming year will be for Brenner's Children's Hospital. So we kind of rotate it back and forth between the two major children's hospitals here in the state. And, it's open to all generation Camaros, so it's not only 5th generation for the Camaro Gathering. It's any Camaro, any year model, can come to this show. And so it's April the 24th through the 26th, and we have it right here in Concord. And it's open to anybody in the U.S. as well. Last year we had 12 different states showing here. So
do you have prizes for the person that
yes.
All car shows have that.
Right.
Who travel the furthest distance?
Right. Camaro Janet's what we call her. She come from Seattle, Washington, so she was the furthest that came this past April.
Right.
And but yes, we have silent auction items. A lot of these big companies and stuff donate stuff for us to auction off, and we have a car show on Saturday, a big car show. We give out top 75 awards and best of show. Have a light competition on Friday night. So But all the money that's raised through the car shows and the silent auction items, we do a silent raffle, all that money that we raise, 100% of it goes to the charity that for that year, whether it be Levine's or Brenner's.
We're talking with Scott Stewart, the president of the fifth generation Camaros of the Carolinas. Scott, how many members are in the club?
Currently, we're at 178 members.
And how did you get involved? Well, you're always a Camaro guy, and he's smiling, folks. You should see the smile on his face now. There's a story here somewhere, and I'm going to dig it out.
Me and my wife actually dated in a 1971 Camaro Z28.
I knew there had to be some reason. So I guess you both have a favorite spot for your
right.
in your heart for your Camaro.
Oh yes.
Do you still have that car?
No, unfortunately. Me and my wife, we met real early in high school. I got married pretty young out of high school. So when I got married, we decided to sell the car to get us something a little bit better on gas mileage, and which at the time, I thought was a smart move. Today, I could kick myself, but no, that I always liked the Camaro. And even when I sold that one, I told my wife, I said, when the new Camaro comes out, because I was seeing pictures of the fifth generation Camaro that they were coming out in Transformers, I was like, first time I see an orange one on the lot, I'm stopping it and I'm buying the car. So
a quick question: the new Corvette,
yes.
which I think is drop dead gorgeous, and I've always felt, and one of my cars is a Viper, which I love, but I always felt that the Corvette was probably the best bang for the buck out of Detroit.
Right.
When you look at the engine, the powertrain, the power plant, the plastic parts, the drive shafts, I mean those things that need to be lightweight but still strong. My only exception, who cares, is the taillights. I love the taillights of the Camaro on the Camaro.
Right.
I don't care for the taillights on the Corvette. But that's the only negative thing, and it's really not negative. It's the only thing that I would say that is strange that GM would do that. The Camaros that have you ever owned a Corvette?
No,
yeah.
never.
Good for you.
3 Camaros.
3 Camaros. No, yeah. And what do you currently own? What do you drive?
I've got a 2010 RS Camaro, Inferno Orange. It's actually, I bought it in February of 2010, so it was from the first line of the new Camaro.
So when they changed the Camaro, were you driving an older Camaro at that time?
No, I actually traded.
He's smiling again, folks.
I traded a Chevrolet pickup on the Camaro as soon as I seen it on the lot. And I actually probably shouldn't say this, but when I seen the orange one on the lot, I was actually on my way to work that morning, and I quickly thought, it ain't going to be there long, so I called in sick to work and went over and bought the car.
And did it meet your expectations?
Oh, it's exceeded my expectations. It's
I looked on the hood of one of those vehicles, and it reminded me of a throwback in a great way to the days when you could get over in the engine. You could actually see the headers, you could see the alternator, you could see the air conditioning system, and it wasn't all completely covered with plastic like most luxury cars are or most new cars are.
Right.
And I said, someone at GM, if we could go all the way back, as Walt Hollifield mentioned earlier when DeLorean was there, someone at GM says we need to give our buyers what they want. Mm-hmm. And so do you feel like you got what you want from GM?
I do. I mean, like I say, the other 2 Camaros I own were both V8s. This one's actually a V6 Camaro, but it's by far a lot faster car than the V8s were of old. So, a lot of torque, runs very fast, real fuel economy's good. So, you get the best of both worlds there, and I've been ecstatic about mine.
And the Charlotte Auto Fair, the nationwide Haggerty sponsorship here for our broadcast and the PRN Studios, I want to thank you for being a part and sharing with us some your personal insight and your information and your history. And it's great for one car guy to be around another car guy.
Oh, yeah,
and that's really, really terrific. And speaking of car guys, folks, coming up is Dr. Andy Randolph from Earnhardt Children's Racing. And another gentleman that probably needs no introduction, Ray Evernham, the host of Velocity TV's Americana. Scott, it's great to have you on the air and to share time with you, and the show doing well for you and your members.
Oh, yes, exactly. I mean, we're, continuously growing. I mean, I think we're very active in the community and stuff, and it's just far exceeded my expectations when I started this club 4 years ago.
That's music to my ears, and I know that it's music to the Charlotte Motor Speedway and all of the great people here. I mean, it is a family affair. The Charlotte Auto Fair is a family affair. It's an annual, and even though it continues to grow, it still has that tightness of a family affair. And I want to thank you for joining me on Car Clinic.
Thank you. Enjoyed being here.
And folks, you don't touch that dial, because coming up, Andy Randolph and Ray Evernham. Stay tuned. I'm Bobby Likas, back after this commercial break. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire and the G-Max AS03, the ultra-high-performance all-season tire. Egyptian hieroglyphics couldn't be any more alien than the strange array of letters and numbers printed on the sides of your tires. Just what does, for example, P185/75 space R14 mean? P stands for passenger vehicle, and 185 is tire width in millimeters. 75 is tire's height to width ratio, and R14 says the diameter of the wheel is 14 inches. Tire babble solved. Now, drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the G-Max AS03, the ultra-high-performance all-season tire that delivers precise response in dry and wet conditions. And while you're there, check out the Tire Stacks and Greenbacks promotion, where you can get up to $70 cash back with the purchase of 4 General tires. Visit GeneralTire.com for details.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
it isn't,
then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah, you.
Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
Ordinary, extraordinary, ultimate. Now you can get the ultimate in performance and protection with the ultimate oil change. Royal Purple high-performance motor oil with a Royal Purple high-performance filter. Royal Purple engineered a long-life filter that provides superior filtration, maximizes flowability, and has more than twice the burst strength of conventional filters. So take it to the limit. Royal Purple high-performance motor oil and filter. Find a retailer near you at royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likas Car Clinic.
I'm your tailgate grill. Your buddy was in such a rush to get into the game, he didn't quite put me out. I see you bought the industrial-sized bottle of lighter fluid. Smart. And if you got cut rate insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get an Allstate agent and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now back to Bobby Likas Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likas.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you in part by Nationwide Insurance and Haggerty Insurance. We're live from the PRN Studios at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the 2014 Charlotte Auto Fair. Cool, crazy, biggest car shows, and even more important that I wanted to share with you, Andy Randolph, my friend from Earnhardt Childress Racing, and he's the technical engine director for Earnhardt Childress. And during his 28-year career at General Motors, I just want to give a little short overview so you'll understand. And in NASCAR, Dr. Randolph is regarded internationally as one of the foremost applied combustion experts in the world. He's contributed to 5 NASCAR championships, and he currently leads a development team that defines the engine architecture for the Chevy engine, supplied by Earnhardt Childress Racing to NASCAR and other racing series. He's authored more than 20 refereed technical publications and received 5 oral presentation awards from the Society of Automotive Engineers. Andy, I don't know how you're going to follow that, but welcome to Bobby Likas Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby. Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming, and I know that you've got a full schedule. Even more so, Ray Evernham, host of Americana on Velocity TV, NASCAR celebrity. Ray, does that fit?
Oh, I don't know. After hearing Andy's intro, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't have any of those awards. Got a couple of them championships, but no, I'm one of the guys that had to race against Andy's stuff.
Well, it's great to have you both in the house. So folks, this is a great – I have the power of the microphone here. So I'm going to go first to Ray. Let's talk about the championships first. Just briefly, when were they, and what did it feel when you won the first one?
Well, we started the DuPont number 24 team for Hendrick Motorsports. Jeff Gordon and I were, a long time ago. It's 1992. So 93 we were Rookie of the Year. 94 we won a couple races. In 95 we actually raced the great Dale Earnhardt, Richard Childress racing team for our first championship, and won that in 95. We finished second in 96. We won it again in 97 and 98. And then in 99, I left the team to go start the Dodge program. I bring them back into NASCAR. So had a great run with Jeff Gordon. I think we had about 210 starts or so, won 47 races, 3 championships. It was a good run.
When you're at the end of a good run, or you're close to the championship, and that's when the nerves really start to come online. How do you maintain just the control of your team and settle everyone down and say, okay, we're this far away, only 1 or 2 more steps?
Well, that's your job as a crew chief. You're on that box. Everybody's looking at you. You got to stay calm and be in control. And the best way to stay calm and be in control is to be prepared. And when you're prepared and you have a plan, you work with it. But as the leader, it's your job to stay calm. And I always tried to be as prepared. I felt like we had great cars and great engines from Hendrick, and I felt like we had the best driver at that time. And we had a plan, and when something happened that was out of the ordinary, I felt like we were prepared to react to it. And again, that was a time in racing, I think, that you had a little bit more control over your destiny than, unfortunately, these guys do now. We had a lot more room to adjust and do things with the race car. But really no different than being a head coach of a football team or any professional sports team. It's your job to sit up there on that box and be in control and be calm and not panic. We were watching a good movie the other night, Draft Day, and it was all about picking a quarterback that didn't panic. And that's what you'll find in a good crew chief and a good driver. You just don't panic.
Years ago, one evening, I was at the Daytona Speedway on the roof, and there were maybe 2-3 laps to go, and it started to rain. And because I was so far up, I'm sure that I felt the mist before it actually hit the track. Jeff won that evening, that event, and it was a nighttime race. I think it was the first nighttime race, as memory serves me. And I'm sure that you at that time were in charge of the pit crew. Do you remember that night?
Yeah, I believe it was. I think we ran it was supposed to run in July, and there was some fires down there, and we couldn't run because of the fires. And it moved to October, and it was run late. We ran at night. It was a 400-mile race, and it was the first race under the lights. It was pretty spectacular, and I do remember, having it. We were leading the race, and it rained, and they stopped it, and we had to go through restarts and be prepared and a break. It was a unique experience.
It was a unique experience, and I was watching, and that's where the improvise. You have to improvise comes in, or you have to make that decision. And I want to turn now to Andy Randolph, and Dr. Randolph. It's great that you absolutely are with us today. What's it like to be in charge of so many moving parts and so many moving people that put those parts together with Earnhardt Childress Racing?
Well, it's a lot of fun every day. What brought me to the sport is when I first came down and started playing in NASCAR, I found an incredible amount of mechanical aptitude, but at that time there wasn't a lot of science involved in the sport. And through schooling and through my time in General Motors research, I learned a lot about the fundamentals of engine operation, and I saw opportunities to apply science to race engine development, and that became my mission when I came down here. And indeed, what we have in NASCAR now is an excellent balance between engineering-driven design modifications and a high level of mechanical aptitude and experience to optimize engines right alongside of that. So it's a perfect mix, and it's a great place to be.
So as Ray mentioned, that it's more restricted today because of all of the new rules, the new laws, parity. I mean, it is what it is. from an engineering standpoint, what not specifically, what do you do, but how do you extract more than Tom, Dick, or Harry or another race team from the same engine size and car?
It is pretty amazing, because if you look at a modern NASCAR Cup engine, really it has its roots back to a 60 small block Chevrolet, and it's still this archaic architecture on the outside where you got 2 valves per cylinder and push rods and flat tappets, and it's really a very old archaic architecture on the outside, but right beneath the surface it's state-of-the-art materials, surface finishes, tolerances, coatings. There's a variety of mechanisms that we look at to squeak every bit of power out of them, and each year when the year starts you look at it and you think, we've been polishing on this thing for 50 years now, what are we going to find? But sure enough, every year, if you don't find 5 or 10 more horsepower and you find it in the darndest places, you're not going to remain competitive.
Now, you talk about archaic. I want to switch back to Ray. And Ray, your classic car, I know that you have a classic car here with you, but that's a big passion that I understand you have, and you have a garage there of your own. But let's talk about Americana and the new TV series on Velocity. How did that come about?
Well, through 35, 40 years of racing, you travel around the country and meet a lot of great people with incredible stories and find a lot of cars that really bring out that passion. And we started to think how important it is to tell that story of how cars have affected the culture in America and really have had a huge effect on our lives, and try and transfer some of that passion and tell those stories into our younger demographic. And also feature some blue-collar people, heroes around the country that you might not have ever heard of. So we, again, travel around the country finding cars and telling that story, how a specific car affected either a town, a culture, a person's life, and we're just having a lot of fun doing it. One of the cars that we have here is actually, everybody talks about barn finds. Well, we found a garage full of vintage Ford hot rod parts and whatnot, and we've got a 1934 Ford 5-window 50s hot rod, and that doesn't sound like much. It's got some Edmunds aluminum cylinder heads on it, but the thing is that they're very rare because they're 21 stud aluminum heads, and this came from a collector, a man he was 74 years old, a man named Willie Glass, who also at 74 years old set the record for going across Bonneville in a Roadster with an Ardent-powered engine in it at 208 miles an hour. So everything from finding the car that Elvis snuck in and out of Graceland with, to Mario Andretti's first car, the first car he took his very first laps at Indianapolis with. We've been pulling stuff out of garages across the country.
How's Velocity to work with?
Velocity people are great, and I can say this, but Bob Scanlon, the general manager there, believed in the program, went to bat for me. They are really, truly the car network. They are dedicated and focused on telling stories, whether that's build shows or historical events, anything to do with automobiles. Right now, Velocity is the Car Guys network.
I mentioned earlier with other guests that we're outside in the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's the history of transportation, classic style, to include Mercedes and 268-mile-per-hour C1000 and almost any Chevrolet Camaro that you want to see, or the Goats. And it's amazing that that you and the successes that you've had with NASCAR, and now you're in a position to where you can continue not only the sport but the history of it, and you're making history all the while with Americana. And I just want to say on air right here from the PRN Studios, I congratulate you and the team at Velocity for bringing to light a part of the story that most people would never see without that show, and I thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Bob. We certainly, again, appreciate that, because this, the car has become more function than form, and just want to bring back to our younger people and tell them that story of how cars really created passion and had an effect on the way we dress, whether it's music, a lot of our memories. Us three guys sitting around this table right now, we can think back to our first car. It had a lot to do with our life. It was our freedom. First dates, proms, things like that. And just
what was your first car?
My first car was a 1965 Malibu SS, and God, Bobby, I wish I had it back.
Mine was a 49 Plymouth two-door that had the most gorgeous corrugated bumpers that they all used on classic cars. Andy, what was your first car?
A Gremlin X.
You got to be kidding.
No, I thought it was the greatest thing at the time.
I bet you wish you had that back now. They're pretty cool.
3-speed manual.
From an engineering standpoint, the valve covers never stop leaking oil. What do you mean?
So that's all right. We love oil.
That's
okay.
I want to thank you for sharing your information and your knowledge, and congratulate you. We had earlier on, and a gentleman that talked about moonshine, Walt Hollifield, and moonshine denatured is ethanol, and I know that you are a proponent of ethanol, and you've done a great job, to educate people as to the assets of renewable industries, renewable fuels, and I thank you for that. I wish I had more time to spend with both of you gentlemen, but I just want to say that from a standpoint of Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Charlotte Auto Fair and Bobby Likas' crew, and Kent Bernhardt, who is our producer just through that other window, what a great opportunity to share what you bring to the table in so many different ways, from engineering, from new ideas, and from engineering and new ideas and old ideas that are new, again, because of what you do. And so thank you, Ray, and thank you, Dr. Randolph.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, folks, it doesn't get any better than, well, it may. You have to stick around, because coming up, Tom Cotter, who is the author of 50 Shades of Rust. And I bought one of those books yesterday afternoon at the auto fair. And I looked through it, and I've got a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask him. One's to do with chicken poop. So don't touch that dial. I'm Bobby Likas from the PRN Studios at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Like us, you're going to love us. We'll be back.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likas with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. The 3-second rule. No, not about food that drops on the floor, but rather a safe driving tip. Choose a fixed point that's even with the car in front of you. If you reach that same point before counting to 3, you're driving too close and need to fall back. Visit escortradar.com to learn about the all-new Passport and Passport Max 2, both featuring built-in Bluetooth connectivity. Don't just drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likas Car Clinic.
This is Willie Works.
Hello.
Back to answer all your laundry questions, like how to get out those tough embedded odors.
Like when your husband comes back from the plant. Woo! Smelling like he brought the whole place home.
Or when one of the cows escapes and you have to wrestle it to the ground.
Uh-huh.
What? I think that's a good one.
They're all good ones, and I have the solution. Febreze for the wash.
Ooh.
Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Wow! 1 capful is all it takes?
Yep, Febreze for the wash. 1 cap, 1 wash.
And say goodbye to odors.
Another great place to use Visa.
Your heart pounds. Your body sweats. Whatever you do, don't look down. Okay, you can look. Because this is the Boulder Rock Club, the largest indoor climbing club in Colorado, where 10,000 square feet of scalable walls give you all the thrills of a Rocky Mountain climb. So bring your sense of adventure and your Visa card, because the Boulder Rock Club will take you to the top, but they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likas Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likas.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likas Car Clinic. We're live from the PRN Studios here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, brought to you in part by Nationwide Insurance and Haggerty Insurance, which is a great partnership. If you're restoring a classic car and you have one that's sort of in the works and you don't know how to get coverage for it, well, guess what? Now there's coverage, and that's a whole new way to look at protection for you. So it's a great opportunity. I had the opportunity earlier, and if you heard earlier today's show, and if not, you can go back online and download it, iPods, iTunes, and your Facebook and Twitter and all of the social media. Instagram, as I know, that we're also available through right now. Again, we're live from the PRN Studios in Charlotte. My next guest is an unusual individual, at least from the short period of time that I spoke with him earlier, Tom Cotter. And he actually has written several books. The last one, the one that I bought, is 50 Shades of Rust. So imagine finding in a barn somewhere this old car, and it's all covered up with, well, you know what? I'm going to let him share with us because he's actually uncovered those automobiles. So, Tom, I want to welcome you to Bobby Likas Car Clinic.
Well, thank you.
The book, 50 Shades of Rust. And by the way, the book that you're holding, sir, belongs to me. I want to initially first hear a little bit about Tom Cotter.
Well, my business card. I'm going to show you my business card.
Okay, here we go.
I'm taking out my wallet here now, but I'm a car guy.
Just hand me the wallet. I'll give you it back.
It's getting stuck in my pants here.
Like,
so I don't play golf. I don't fish. I don't hunt. I do one thing in life, and that's cars.
I didn't know that car guys did play golf or fish or hunt. I mean, ironically, I don't fish, I don't play golf, and I don't hunt. I did catch 2 fish. I have caught 2 fish in my life.
Well, look at my title on there.
Okay, folks, his title is this is really cool. Certified Car Geek, Tom Cotter.
And I've worked my whole life to have that title. I've done a lot of things in my life, always around the automotive industry. I had a repair shop when I got out of school. I sold parts. I worked in a car dealership. And those were all in preparation for getting where I really wanted to be, which was automotive and racing public relations. This speedway that you're at right now, 30 years ago, I was the PR director here. And I used to put on Auto Fair, which is going on right now behind us. So I was the PR director here for 4 years, and then opened my own agency called Cotter Group and ran that for 15 years. And we started off with 2 people with a folding card table. And when I sold the business, we had 90 employees, and it was the largest racing agency in the world. Racing is a great industry, but my passion is old cars, always, always. I like racing. I love the industry. I don't watch races very much, but I love old cars. And since I'm 14, I've been hunting for old cars. On the school bus, I'd be riding to school and see in a driveway a Model A Ford Roadster, and I'd make a note, and then that Saturday I'd go back with my bicycle and go talk to the guy.
At that age?
Yeah.
Way back then.
Well, I own a car, the 39 Ford Woody I have. I bought when I was 15 years old. It was a barn find, and I still own it today. So this is all I've ever done, and I love it. I feel like Huck Finn sometimes.
Well, and to that end, what was your first book? What was your first book, and when did you decide that, I mean, everyone, I think, at least I thought about, and I've had people say, oh, you should write a book. You've done so many, you had so much experience, but to think that you should write a book and actually do it, that's 2 different things. So how did you go about writing your first book? How long did it take?
Well, I've written 11 books now, and I'm working on 12, 13, and 14 as we speak. My first book, I moved to Charlotte from New York to take the job at the Speedway here, and I was driving around my new town, and I went past this huge old brick building near the airport, and I didn't pay much attention to it. It was kind of vines growing out of it and kind of ramshackle. But then I saw there's an old gas tank in back, this huge gas tank, and it said Holman and Moody on it. Oh, my God.
Oh, Holman and Moody, yes, Ford.
I said, so I stopped the car. It was a Sunday morning. I stopped the car and just walked around and looked, and it said employee entrance and whatever. And I said, boy, if these walls could talk, what could it tell me? So I started to write a book about the history of Holman and Moody when I was here as the PR director. Well, that job got busy. And then I opened an agency, and that got busy. So from the time I started that book to the time I finished it was 17 years. So, but that was my first book, and it was the history of Holman and Moody. My second book took a year. That was The Cobra in the Barn. And now I can whip out a book maybe every 6 months. So I often do 2 books a year, or maybe 1 book a year. But it's part of my DNA to write books. I don't watch TV. People say, how do you find the time? I just don't watch TV. I feel bad because I just passed Ray Abraham in the hallway. I love Ray, but I've never seen his show because I just don't watch TV.
So, but for me, and with regard to, you mentioned the Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
I've built a Cobra in my life, which was a phenomenal experience. I don't know that I'd ever do that again.
Yeah.
But I did feel like that it was maybe 85%. That you never finish a car.
Right.
You never finish a car, but to write the book, I think it's just unbelievable, and to crank one out every. Where do you get the ideas? I mean, I know they're about cars, and I want to get into 2 things. Number one, your 50 Shades of Rust, which I love the title, and look.
And it's
book.
about rust, not lust. Okay.
Well, that's right. Yeah, right. But and folks, there's a page, and we're talking with Tom Cotter, automotive enthusiast extraordinaire and author. There's one on page 86.
86.
There's a Michael Cummings of get this, folks, Cumming, Georgia.
Michael's a good friend of mine. I was the president of the Formula One Grand Prix in New Jersey a couple of years ago, and Michael was my CFO. And so we both lived in Manhattan. We're both Southern guys. And we would sit at a bar, usually the Oyster Bar, which is downstairs from Grand Central Station, eating oysters and fish and drinking beer and talking about the cars we missed back home. Well, now we're both back home because the Formula One race didn't happen. And but he's got a cool 1944 coupe. That was a moonshine car. It's got an Oldsmobile rocket engine in there.
Right.
And it's a blast.
So that's just one of the highlights that really got my... And then, folks, this is so cool. When I was thumbing through the book, and by the way, the book has the foreword is written by Wayne Carini. He's joined us on for the Great Race. He helped to kick off the Great Race in Maryland, I think, or Massachusetts, one of the two. I apologize, I don't remember. But it was 8 days, and we actually drove down to the Villages in South Florida to cover the final day of the race.
Oh, that's cool.
It was cool, but so congratulations, and Wayne's I've never met that gentleman, but certainly does a great job. But I want to lead to page 111. So if you'll flip through your own book there.
Yeah.
If you'll flip through your hymnals to page 111, I'm going to sing to you
the chicken
poop convertible. I saw that, and folks, it's been my dream to find, and here's what everyone looks for, just if you're not into classic cars or you've always wanted to be, the barn find. And I want to get into the barn find next. So you uncover what you don't know what is under all that stuff. I don't know where that stuff comes. Where does that stuff come from that besides the chicken?
It's sleds and bicycles and lawn rakes and
straw and dust.
Yeah.
But I have found that that is somewhat of a protectant for the car. Is that not
also,
true?
If cars are hidden, even when the garage door is up. Now, a barn finder like me, we get serious on Saturdays and Sundays because people open their garage doors because they're doing yard work. So the doors that are usually closed and the cars are concealed on weekends, there they are. So if a car is heavily covered with stuff, people don't notice it. If it's right there, sitting there beautifully, well, it would have disappeared 20 years ago.
Sure.
So I love cars that I can only see a piece of the taillight lens because that's why it's still there.
So as you walk us through a particular moment that pops into your mind, I hope that I bring that, when you found some prize, some jewel, something that brought your arm.
Well, I know it exactly.
Okay, share with us.
Well, often I'm asked to speak for groups, car groups, about barn finds. So I was speaking to the Sports Car Club of America, the Carolina region, in Spartanburg, South Carolina, 6-7 years ago, about barn finds. And it was their award banquet. It happened in December, and they were awarding, D production, E production champions, and whatever. So I give my little spiel, and then I sit down at my table to eat my rubber chicken, and the guy next to me taps me on the shoulder. He said, "What would be your ultimate barn find?" I said, my whole life was a 289 Cobra, but I found that, and I have it in my garage.
A real 289 Cobra?
Oh, yeah. So He said, what would be your second favorite part find? I said, it sounds crazy because there's only 25 in the world, but it would be a Cunningham. And I didn't think he knew what a Cunningham was.
Now, I have to interrupt here. How much rust was on the Cobra? That's a rhetorical question. And how much rust was on the Cunningham?
Well, the Cunningham has no rust because it's an aluminum body.
Aluminum body, I know. Yeah. So of the two cars that you found, and you have this 50 shades of rust, and they're not even rustable.
Wow. You know what? I've found hundreds of cars that had lots of rust.
Yeah,
These just happen to be two.
Okay.
But the guy said, I know where there's a Cunningham. And I said, oh, my God. And then I said, wait a minute. I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's got to be a fiberglass car with a Corvair engine. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He says, a friend of mine owns it, and I'll take you there next week. Well, son of a gun, in Greenville, South Carolina, it was in a basement. It had been there for 30 years. It was a real Cunningham. And it took me several years to talk this guy into selling it to me. But I now own one of 25 cars. It's the second one built. And what an amazing story. It's got a 331 Hemi with 4 single-barrel Z's.
Really?
A 3-speed CAD LaSalle transmission. The whole chassis was built in West Palm Beach, Florida. And then they shipped it over to Turin, Italy, where Vignali built an aluminum body. It's like the best of both worlds, an Italian hot rod. Wow.
God, I'm surprised Italians would put up with an American running gear.
Well, it's an American car. Well, Briggs Cunningham built it because he wanted to race at 24 Hours of Le Mans, but you had to be a manufacturer to race there. So he had to build 25 cars. It was the most expensive American car at the time. In 1952, you could have bought 3 Cadillac Coupe de Villes for the price of 1 Cunningham.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's backtrack to you're a youngster, you're on the bus, you see a car in the driveway, you said, oh, and you make notes, and then you do whatever it is that you had to get through school and get out, or not, and you go back and you buy that car. Now let's fast forward to 2014. Again, we're broadcasting from the PRN Studios here live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Charlotte 2014 Auto Fair. What would be your ultimate road trip?
Well, I'm taking it next week. I leave a week from yesterday. I leave next Friday, and my friend Brian Barr and my photographer friend Michael Allen Ross, we're getting in my 39 Ford Woody wagon. We're leaving my driveway. Let's turn left, let's turn right.
Wait. This is going to be like a barn find
road trip.
So you're going to leave and go find. And what's the plan?
No plan. I'm going to end at Hershey 2 weeks later, and I'm going to write a book. There's going to be 14 chapters, 1 chapter for each day, 14 days on the road of finding cars. And I don't know where I'm going, but I have enough confidence in my talent that it's going to be an interesting book.
Well, and to that end, are you a little bit anxious as far as will I find? How do you find?
I'll find dozens of cars each day because I know the kind of houses they sit behind. I know that grass in the driveway in front of a garage door means that garage door hasn't been open in a long time. I know they go behind body shops, in the very back row of used car dealerships. I know where they are.
You have a crystal ball.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it is great, and it's that experience, and as I see it, it's the enthusiasm. And folks, you should see the look on Tom's face.
I'm 60 years old. I feel like I'm 14.
And there again, therein lies, I believe, as we talked earlier with Walt Cunningham, not Cunningham, Walt Hollifield. I believe that's where the connection between the new generation, the younger generation, and our generation, that we love cars, but for us, it was for me, it was something that I could share with me and I could build. And the cars that I had, I never could afford the cars that I really wanted. And now I have 3 or 4 cars that I really don't know what to do with because I don't drive them. Do you have cars that you don't drive?
I've got 25 cars I don't drive.
Is it okay not to drive a car?
No, it's not. You know what?
I didn't want you to say that.
Cars go bad when they don't get used. The hydraulics build up moisture in them. The brakes go bad.
Right.
The batteries go dead. The gas in the tank, in the lines, and in either the fuel injection system or the carburetor turns to jelly. The tires go flat. They become flat spotted. Cars need to be driven or they just go bad.
So have you written a book on this? No, specifically?
I'm trying to get rid of about 15 cars because I want to come down to the 10 cars that I really love to drive. And you know what? I've got a Cobra. I love to drive it. But I've got a 36 horsepower Volkswagen convertible that I love to drive too. You know, so my taste is so varied. I'm building a 32 Ford Highboy that in my head I've been building since I'm 15. I want to finish that.
So what about a how-to book on how to go from an existing classic car owner with a lot of cars to an existing classic car owner with a lot of cars that work?
Boy. I'm friends with Jay Leno. He's got about 130 cars and 80 motorcycles. He drives every car because he's got a staff that keep them all exercised.
You have to admire him for that. I mean, he's a can-do.
He's got a Cunningham. He just bought a Cunningham.
Really?
I brokered a Cunningham from an 85-year-old to Jay, and he said, I got to own that car. I love the whole story.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you for the time, for sharing your enthusiasm. I want to remind you that because of the nationwide insurance and Hagerty Classic Car Insurance, the cars in your garage can be covered, and even the cars that you, and he's smiling again, even the cars that you currently have under construction, those cars are covered.
Hagerty is my broker. I have $1,007,500 worth of value insured through Hagerty, and I write for their magazine. So, and I just had lunch in Traverse City, Michigan, with the owner.
Well, there you go. Ask and you shall receive. So, Tom, you great. I don't know which of all my guests I've enjoyed more today. Everyone's brought so much to the table, as Charlotte Motor Speedway does with the Charlotte Auto Fair. It's an annual event. There's the cue, the end of the program. Thank you for joining me on Bobby Like Us.
I'm going out to find a rusty fender right now.
Yeah. There you go, folks. Barn Find Road Trip. Bobby Like Us. See you next week. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Like Us Car Clinic. Bobby Like Us Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likas, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. The corn as food versus fuel duel is emotional, not factual. Fact is that ethanol is produced from field corn for livestock, not sweet corn for humans. And ethanol production from field corn utilizes only the starch. Remaining vitamins, protein, and fiber are sold as livestock feed. I'm Bobby Likas, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Like Us Car Clinic.
Go ahead, hit me. Yeah, come on, in the face. I need to be prepared.
Oh, sending in the dogs.
Okay, bring it on. Oh, man. Oh, if I can handle this. Oh, I can handle 10 intruders. Oh.
Dude, just change the locks.
Yeah.
Come on in to Ace Hardware to find all kinds of home safety products. Everything from locks and keys to fire extinguishers and smoke detectors. Everyone deserves to feel safe. Look to your Ace Circular for special savings. Ace, the helpful hardware place.
Mom, see you later.
Jason? Who else is going to the concert with you?
Anna and Kyle.
So you'll be home...
at 11.
Good. Make sure to call me if anything comes up, okay?
You know I never forget.
I know you don't. Now, about that music.
Yeah, isn't it awesome?
Well...
Let your kids be who they are, but know what they're doing. Talk, know, ask. Parents, the anti-drug. For more information, call 1-800-788-2800. Sponsored by the ONDCP and the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.